Good morning. This is Employment Opportunities, and I'm your host, Randy Clark. And just a reminder, if you happen to miss the show this morning or you just want to look it over again, you can always go to the WIL Facebook page or you can go to YouTube, WIL TV 47 Employment Opportunities, and you can watch the show again. Now, today, I got some of my favorite volunteers. Y'all know how I am about volunteers, and these are real special. I have today with the Redcoats and the Pink Ladies of Coosa Valley Medical Center. And the Redcoat we're introducing today is Mr. Ron Sims. And of course, we have Miss Beautiful Mildred McKinney. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are y'all?
We're doing well.
Wonderful. Thank y'all so much for coming on the show. Y'all are a vital asset to Coosa Valley Medical Center and also our community. So, let's get started.
How about that?
Mr. Ron Sims, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe your family?
Okay. I am Ron Sims. I have lived in the Sylacauga area full-time for about 6 years. We live on Cedar Creek in the Fayetteville community. I have been married to my wonderful wife, Joyce. We recently celebrated our 50th wedding anniversary. 3 adult children and 5 wonderful grandchildren, all of whom live in the Auburn area. But very excited to have the opportunity to work with the Coosa Valley Auxiliary and have been doing so for about the last 3 years.
Okay. Miss McKinney.
Good morning, Mildred McKinney. I've lived in Sylacauga all my life, and I'm still married to my husband. We just celebrated our 58th wedding anniversary. We have 1 daughter and 2 grandchildren, and she lives in Atlanta, and they are in Georgia, the grandchildren. So I've been here all my life, married, I guess, all my life.
Right.
Enjoy what I do
Wonderful.
and live on here in the old Rockford Road,
Okay.
right out of town.
Fantastic. Now, let's talk a little bit about what the Redcoats and the Pink Ladies do. Mr. Sims, can you tell us pretty much what the day-to-day operations are? Well, first of all, Miss McKinney, can I talk to you
Yes.
first?
Okay. All right.
Can you give us a little history on the Pink Ladies and maybe the Redcoats?
Let's see what we can come up with.
Okay.
All
Now,
right.
well, let me talk about one thing before we get started. Y'all are what we veterans call the first defense when you get to the hospital.
Right.
And from what I understand is people come into the hospital, when they come in that front door, they're in one of 3 moods. They're either sad, they're either scared, or they're either happy. And those, y'all smiling faces can change a mood like that. And we love that. And they are also, y'all are the last face they see when they leave the hospital. So it's a very important. Miss McKinney, can you give us a little history on the Pink Ladies and the Redcoats?
Okay, from the time that I realized and then know, I joined the auxiliary about 14 years ago. And I did it because there was some new pictures in the papers of some people that I knew. And they had been in the education field.
Okay.
So I decided I had some energy to burn after I retired from the school system for 30 years. And I decided that's something that I need to do. Made an application and was accepted into it. And the little history that I know about it, it started like in the 80s.
Okay.
Like 1981, with only 12 women.
Okay.
And they were kind of considered like candy stripers.
Right.
Okay.
They used to be called
Used to
candy
be kind of
stripers.
called as candy stripers. And after they involved younger people, they became candy stripers. And the older people became more or less the pink ladies.
Pink ladies.
Because we had to start wearing jackets.
Right.
Okay. So from there, the auxiliary with the pink ladies, it has a service that is provided to the hospital, as well as assisting for funds to help with the hospital foundation.
Okay.
The auxiliary itself has a number of so many people that used to be up to about 53, but because of the COVID and age, sickness, we're down to about 15 to 13.
Okay.
But the auxiliary itself is a fine group of people who have the interest at heart for helping people.
Right.
That is one great thing about it. If you don't like that, don't do it.
Right.
But I tell you, where your heart is, that's where your work ethics are.
Right.
So it started with that, the auxiliary, and one of the ladies that started it also, she's now deceased, was a Ann Williamson and a Muntean Webb.
Mm-hmm.
And the record that Muntean Webb carries is like, she worked like over maybe 40 some years.
40 plus years, like.
And she worked in the gift shop.
Okay.
That was her thing. But like 37 years. And due to some health issues during the COVID, of course, she passed
Right.
at the age of 92.
Wonderful lady.
Wonderful lady. And she had over 50,000 hours because she did more than one day a week.
Right.
Hospital was her life and she loved it.
Right.
And that rolled off on some of us
Right.
because we like what we do.
Right. Kindness rubs off on people, don't it?
It does,
Mr. Kenny? Okay, Ms. McKinney,
Mm-hmm.
can you tell us if some of our viewers, like you said, we lost a lot during COVID,
Yes.
but now that COVID is kind of over, we hope, could you tell the viewers if somebody, and I know we've got many ladies out there that's interested that kind of don't know that the COVID situation is over. Could you tell them how they can get involved with this organization?
Sure. You have some of that
Sure.
information
Yeah,
also,
I can
Ron?
jump
Okay.
in.
All right.
Yes.
I can certainly jump in with
We'll
that.
switch on over
Yeah.
there to Mr. Sims
Okay.
then.
Okay.
And just tell us some of the day-to-day
Yeah.
duties that you do, Mr.
Okay.
Sims.
Well, first of all, I did want to thank you for even considering having us here. This is a
It's
big
my
step.
honor, believe me, it's
a-
my honor to have y'all here.
a big step for the auxiliary. As far as some of the basics are concerned, the volunteers work on one of two shifts on a given day. We have an 8 to 12 noon shift and a noon to 4 p.m. shift. And at the present time, unfortunately, we do not have enough volunteers to cover a Tuesday afternoon shift or either of the shifts on Friday. So we have no volunteer presence at that time. On a normal shift, we will have 3 volunteers who work the front desk. There will be, in the lobby as you enter the building, one of the volunteers will be the person answering the phones, greeting the patients or visitors, and just generally being there to assist anyone coming in. 2 of the volunteers are assigned as patient transporters, and those would be the people who would be assisting patients who are being released from the surgical recovery rooms or are being released from the hospital ward units. So we would have 2 people performing that function. And in past times, Randy, we have had 2 volunteers who would be working in the gift shop for each shift. As a result of the COVID, the gift shop has been closed and we have not been able to reopen it, and that is something we definitely want to do.
Mr. Ron, we need some more volunteers where we can get that gift shop back open.
That's
Yes,
exactly
we do.
right, and we've had
Yes,
many,
we do.
many requests for that to occur. You brought up one very interesting point, and the idea of the role we play at the front desk. Obviously, we want to greet people and make them comfortable. If we can greet them with a smile, a welcoming attitude, their reaction and their experience in the hospital will be much, much better. And I love the example you gave. We are the first people that the visitors and the patients see when they come in. And gosh, if we don't get them off to a good start, we are not doing our job. And likewise, we are, particularly the transporters, are the last people that the visitors may see while they're at the hospital. It's amazing, you have brought up some of my thoughts as far as what we generally see when people are coming into the hospital. Obviously, we will see people who are ill. There may be someone who is in an immediate care need that enters the hospital. We know they're in pain and we certainly want to help them. I've had a couple of examples which were kind of frightening to me, to be honest with you. We had one gentleman who came in the front door and had a nail protruding through his hand in an industrial accident, and I was certainly able to get him to the emergency room as quickly as possible. We had a young boy who was brought in by a mother who was in an accident and apparently had almost severed one of his fingers, obviously getting her to the emergency room as quickly as possible. So this job, you have an opportunity to provide immediate help for someone who is in an acute injury situation. The second concern, and you brought this up, is when people walk in that door, they're anxious. They have a lot of anxiety. They may be having a test that they're concerned about the results. They may be coming in for a surgery or a colonoscopy or other procedures that might be done, and they're all worried. And anything we can do to lighten that mood or lighten that load, we try to do. If they're coming in, they've a loved one's in the ICU, they may not be familiar with the hospital, we are there to help them get there so that they can visit with their loved one. In any event, whatever we can do to help in that regard, we do. And the third attitude, and this is the one that I think Mildred and I would enjoy the most, is if we have an excited grandparent or relative that is coming to meet their new baby boy or baby girl in the maternity ward. And those escorts are about as joyous as you can imagine. In any event, what we want to do is make that first initial contact to be as pleasant as possible. Now, you have mentioned that we do need volunteers desperately. And there are some qualities that I would like to review. If you are interested in doing this, these are some of the qualities that I think we would certainly be looking for. First of all, we think you need a servant's heart. You legitimately want to help people. You, particularly when they are in serious need, you want to help people. And I consider this, Randy, truly a ministry of service to people in need.
It is.
You need to be a people person. You have to enjoy interacting with others, particularly on a one-on-one situation. It is very helpful if you are inclined or you enjoy physical activity, particularly if you want to be one of the patient transporters. Obviously, we would assist getting the patient into the wheelchair from the recovery room or from the hospital ward, rolling them down to the front entrance and assisting getting them into the car. And that certainly requires some physical activity. And Randy, that's one of the best parts of my job is the interaction that I have as a transporter, bringing the people down, particularly when they're being released. We have some very interesting conversations, and anything we can do by offering them a prayer, offering them encouragement for their healing, we certainly do that. But regardless of the physical activity, the positions are available at the desk. Again, you don't have to be running around rolling people down the hallway. You can serve just in giving directions and welcoming people there at the desk. So if you are interested in working, we are asking that you would be willing to commit to at least 1 4-hour shift per week. And at present, there are a number of us that work multiple shifts since we do not have the number of volunteers that we need to cover all of the shifts. So there are a lot of benefits for this job. Now, I will tell you, you're thinking, well, gosh, I'm going to be doing all this work. Am I going to get paid? And the answer is no. But I have been told, Mildred, I have been told this. We get $0 for every shift, but if you work there for more than 2 years, they double that to $0 per shift.
That's right.
But
That's right.
in any event, we are fortunate that the hospital provides a complimentary meal for each shift that we work. So we have a complimentary meal in the cafeteria. The auxiliary does like to party, and we have a very, very joyous holiday Christmas gathering each year. And we have, in past years, we hope to get this restarted, have a recognition banquet each year to recognize the efforts of the volunteers.
And Ron, that is done by recognizing us with the pen. It starts out with 100 hours, then you go to 500 hours, and then 1,000 hours. So some of us have accumulated those pens. I think mine is up to 5,000 hours, which
Okay.
I'm glad of that. And that's just like working 1 day a week, 4 hours a day.
Right.
That's all we have to do. And that is something that we give back
Right.
because we like what we do. And if we don't, we have to call people in if we don't have their time to go doing our regular shift.
Right.
We have to find somebody else to do it, and we always cooperate. The few that we have, we work together as a team because we are stationed in the front of the lobby.
Right.
You'll see all of us there. But then I'm one who's my shift, I answer the telephone from the different departments in the hospital that says we are ready for someone to come and pick up this patient from 258 or day surgery or the GI lab.
Okay.
So that's what I do. We have to notate it down, and somebody who was working with us, like Ron, has to get that wheelchair and go and get that person.
Right.
And like he said, the stories that are told that we hear, that we serve the people when they're on the elevator, or even when they come into the hospital, and then I see them first. It's a ministry to us. We think sometimes that we are going to help them, but you'd be surprised at the help that we get.
Goes both ways.
It goes both ways. And at the end of the day, when we're in the bed and we're thinking about what has happened during the day, we just say, God, thank you that you allowed us to be of service, but also that person was a ministry to us.
Right.
It works both ways.
Right.
And like Ron said, they come in sick, they come in hurt, they come into the
Scared.
lobby scared, and some of, nowadays, for whatever the reason, we don't know, but there are a lot of people who are on canes, walkers.
Right.
We have to assist, and there are a lot of people who come to get the wheelchair to get my parent or someone out of the car because they need assistance. Prayers go up.
Yes.
They come in and we'll tease with them. And they'll tease with us.
Right.
There comes a smile on the face. Just to make somebody feel good when you come to a hospital. It's not always about a doctor, it is. But a smile goes a long way.
It does.
A pat on the shoulder goes a long way.
It does.
A hug goes a long way. Now you would think that we wouldn't be just allowed or able to touch people like that, but you have to.
Oh, yeah.
Because we realize we are people.
Right.
And if we didn't, then we're not doing the service that we were put there for.
That's right.
Yeah. So we enjoy doing what we're doing as a group, as a team.
All right, and you have brought up a couple of issues. Number one, that is, as far as I'm concerned, the best benefit of this job you could ever get is the enjoyment and the feeling that we have at the end of the shift. We certainly do not want to overlook this. For anyone, you've heard our story now and how much satisfaction we think you can get. And we know you are interested in joining us, so we want to talk about that process. The process is very simple. If you'd be willing to stop by the information desk there in the lobby of the hospital, ask for an application, complete the application, leave it with us. We would get it to the administration area. They can arrange to review the application, do the background check, and arrange an in-person interview. If the application is approved, you'll be required to attend a one-day orientation training session along with other full-time employees who have been hired at the hospital. Complete the normal standard drug screening test, and then complete some on-job training with one of the volunteers. So it is really very, very simple to do that. And I am actually making a special shout out to all men who may be watching and would be interested in doing something in their retirement. We have a wonderful group of women who work with the group, but we are looking, like the Marine Corps says, we're looking for a few good men to join the Red
join
Coats.
Ron
That's
and
right.
the rest
To
of the
join the
men that
Red
we
Coats.
have. Yes.
But it is, we cannot emphasize just the joy that we have every day that we are on the job, and that's a wonderful benefit. If you have any questions, certainly feel free to come by and meet with us at the desk at the hospital. You may also call Miss Vanessa Green. Vanessa Green, administrator who is in charge of our group.
Or her secretary.
Or her secretary, Jayla. And their number is obviously 256 401 4070. That's 401 4070. They would be delighted to speak with you, and we will be delighted to speak with you and offer any information you may need. But we are looking forward to hearing from you and would look forward to working with each and every one of you that are interested.
Thank y'all so much
Okay.
for coming in. Can we do another show sometime?
Would love to.
I would love to. Thank y'all
Yes,
for what y'all do. Y'all are my favorite volunteers. I don't know what we would do without y'all, and I'm sure CVMC don't know what they would do either.
Well, thank you.
We
Thank y'all
experienced
so
a little
much.
of that
Thank you,
during
Randy,
the
for having
COVID.
us.
Thank you
All right.
for having us.
See you next time.
Thank you.